for my forever first lady.
Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair? Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't.
Exactly. All of that. All of that. And this is what was the inspiration of my very first published book. Whereas I like to tell the story that I always wanted my first published work to be something medical because I'm in healthcare, but it ended up being about the experience as a Black woman with Afro kinky curly hair, because all curly hair isn't the same. It's not. And then when it comes to Black women's curly hair, our kinks and coils, it's not the same. And that is why the Type 4 experience is here. Why I published that book, and I published it on June 19th, 2024. Do you know that manuscript was sitting on my bookshelf for like 2 years? I was walking by it for 2 years. And I'll never forget, it was Les Brown, one of his motivational speeches that I was listening to on YouTube, where he said, no one's going to write that book for you. No one's going to finish that project for you. And I went, man, I need to just publish it. Stop trying to do things in the perfect order. But here we are. It will be 2 years later. And the thing that I ended up publishing first was the Type 4 experience about Black women's hair and what my experience was. And when I did my virtual launch, I had a panel of people on there. I'll be sure, go to my link, go to the link in my bio so that you can find my YouTube and you'll see the panel discussion. I had a lot of people, women and men, talking about their Type 4 experience, because men have a Type 4 experience as well, just like the women do. And for me, as a corporate woman, what that was like trying to wear my natural curly hair to work, and them having that conversation about uniform, like and it's like, really, people, really? Why is that a thing? Why do we have to do something like that? Why does there have to be a piece of legislation to tell the people in this country to get out of our hair, get out of our heads, and what we do to our hair? And just to understand the history in this country, okay, of why we ended up with the wraps and things over our heads, because they didn't want us, let's go back to the days of slavery and our hair coming out curly the way it was, and slave owner men being attracted to that, not to mention the other atrocities of chattel slavery. But the slave owners' wives were not always happy about that, and ended up being part of the brutality against us as well, out of jealousy and hurt and all those other things. So anyway, all of that to say, to be able to have that freedom and how you wear your hair. And I talk about that in the book, what this beauty standard of beauty was, and how I grew up and it wasn't that. and how perms and relaxers were pushed to the black community, and now every other new post you see or advertisement you see on your news feed got something to do with, if you were someone that was using this particular relaxer, you may be eligible, or you could be a part of some class actions, because now they're talking about the carcinogens that they knew was in these. Let me just move on. But yeah, everything Forever First Lady said, everything she said, you know, and that's an experience. And I saw somewhere in some posts where they were like, no, Miss Obama, we weren't Mrs. Obama, we don't think that that's their health, that they're the beauty standard or something. I saw that from someone, a post from them. I'm like, you know, black people, you know, and it made me think, at first, you know, when you see, I'm going on a tangent, sorry y'all, because I'm talking about black hair, but I'm also talking about black women. When you see me, if I'm watching posts and I see a black person tear down another black person, now after this whole delineation thing, and make sure you guys go into the link in the bio, sign a petition for the movement, the delineation movement, FBA, Foundational Black American Movement. So every time I see a black person tear down another black person, my first thought, and the person who's tearing down the other black person, who are they? Where are they in the diaspora? That's my first question now. It's, you know, yeah, we're all racially black, but what is their ethnicity? Why are they, you know, and then of the person that they're tearing down, if they're racially black, then my next question is, what is their ethnicity? Very seldom do you see the tearing down of an FBA to another FBA. You know, I'll scratch that, because that's, you know, because I've seen a lot of FBA men tearing down former President Barack Obama, but you know, there's so many reasons why that can be. And we know he's not FBA. It's clear. Yes, we know that. You know, because, you know, his mom was white and his father was Kenyan. So, you know, so he's racially black. Okay. Nonetheless, I'm always looking at that. Who's doing the tearing down, and who are they tearing down? I noticed that I look into that. You know, who are the more self-hating blacks? You know, I pay attention to that. But anyway, the lady was saying, when she, in her tone, you know, no, that's not why we do it, Mrs. Obama. You know, like, lady, relax. You know, have you ever had a corporate job? Because I see nothing wrong, no lies told in what she was saying. She wasn't saying it, in my opinion. I did not take this as her saying, oh, we do this for you white people because we want to please them. We do it because of the things that they impose on us and how difficult that they make it for us to just live our lives and just be free, and we just want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's it. But they don't always let us do that. There's always something. There's always something. But that is the experience that we have in our skin in this country. Doesn't make us any less American, and we can complain about our own country, but most of us know we wouldn't go anywhere else in the world. We would still stay in America. And we're also proud to be Black Americans, you know, so we're probably the most patriotic group, you know. But all of this to say, yes, and that more of us, you know, we have so much flexibility and diversity in black hair, and we don't have to be one thing. And even in my book, when I talk about it, I'm not going to be that Angela Davis afro. I can have it, but you won't see me in it in day to day, because it tangles. That hair coils, shrinks, coils so fast. It's management issues, you know. So I like stretching the hair and wearing stretch styles from management, for me to be able to retain length in a healthy way. But yeah, all of what she said, y'all. All right. Peace, love, and hair, y'all.